Good evening. We're so glad to have you back and watching our show. This is a wonderful show that we're going to have today. And I know you watched last month's and you saw exactly what we were doing. And we have the same guests come back because we just ran out of time. This is the commander of the VFW Post 10,054 on Homestead. And that's Marty Aguilar. And he's just a fantastic individual. But like I said, we had so much information and we tried to pour it all out. And I know you tried to absorb it all, but at the same time, there's just no way you get all that information. So I'm going to ask you again to be sure to write it down and take notes. And be sure to call Marty if you have any questions. So first thing I want to do is welcome Marty to the show. Marty, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Tom. Pleasure to be here again.
It's great to have you back. And like I was just telling the audience, you know, we just had so much information we wanted to cover. Now, we had a long list of information, and we did cover some. But I know there's some things that have happened since our last show. Would you like to go ahead and bring us up to date on a lot of that?
Sure. So let me see. Last month, or last week when we sorry, I forget when we taped again, but
it was last month.
Yeah, during the time frame between last month and this month, we actually had our Voice of Democracy and Patriots Pen essays. We received.
Why don't you explain again exactly what that is?
Okay, so our Voice of Democracy is an essay contest that's at the high school level, and our Patriots Pen is an essay contest that's at the middle school level. And we received our entries, and thank you for those students that participated. We got those entries in, we graded those, and those were sent up to the district level. And now those students that were sent to the district level will be competing against 9 other VFW posts. If they select and win from our post, I'm hoping, because they were great essays, if they select and win at the district level, then they'll go up to the state level. And then if they win at the state level, they will go on to the national level. Remember, there's a $30,000 scholarship for the Voice of Democracy, and there's a potential $5,000 scholarship for the Patriots Pen students if they go all the way up to the national level and receive the national award.
Now, this is something, even though it's over for this year, this is something that the VFW does every year. Is that correct?
Every year. Every year, it's one of those things where, you know, we have a lot of great students out there. We have a lot of great teachers that encourage our students with writing. There's a brand new theme every year, and it's a monetary value for basically spending a couple hours of your time to write out an essay about what the topic is for that year, and then we forwarded them up. And at the end of the day, it's a $100 check for the winner at our post, and that's from the VFW. It's $75 from the auxiliary, so for a total of $175 for a little bit of time and effort on the students' part to basically submit their essays to the VFW. We grade those, and then we send them up to the district level.
So we need to let the counselors at the schools know. We need to let the teachers, parents, and students know that next year, the deadline, I think, was
it's always
October.
Yeah, October 31st, Halloween night.
Hey, that's great. So next year, everybody knows, look, let's go ahead and get a jump on this. Not talk about writing an essay now because you don't know the topic, but be prepared. So as soon as you get the information, you can jump on it. And it's free money. One of the things we talk about all the time, free money that students can use.
Yep, most definitely.
Okay, what else has been going on?
Well, we did our Poppy Drive on November 3rd, and I just want to do a huge shout out to the community. We raised over $2,000, and all of that money goes into our relief fund, and that relief fund is set aside specifically for veterans in need. We utilize, and we've brokered with Valley Electric, to basically, we'll write out a check to Valley Electric, care of the individual's name and their account number so their electricity won't get shut down. Yes. We use the money to assist people with buying propane. We use the money to assist people with or veterans with medical bills, gasoline. If you're short and you find yourself in need of gasoline, we've partnered with Smith's. We write out a check to Smith's, care of their name, for gasoline purchase only, and they just go up to Smith's and they fill up their tanks. And that's what that money is utilized for. It's to assist veterans in need. And again, it's money that we try to give away. Now, at the end of the day, you know, we do a sanity check to make sure that we're not enforcing bad habits on our veterans.
Yes.
And we make sure that the need is actually there before we go ahead and do anything. A while back, we used to just cut the check to the veteran, and we don't do that anymore because we found that they were going out and using it for other sources other than doing what they needed to do with the funds.
So now we make sure we pay their bills. And,
correct.
Yeah.
Well, we don't pay their bills. We cut checks to basically assist with payments to make sure that their electricity is not going to get shut off. Valley Electric will not shut their electricity off if they come to us and we write the check to Valley Electric, care of the individual, with their account number on it.
You know, with the different veteran organizations around town, as well as Nevada Outreach, there's so much assistance for veterans. But for everybody that's listening, be sure that you know the VFW Post is here to help.
Yeah.
And anything they can do for veterans in our community, veterans and their families, this is what it's all about. So come down to the Post, get to meet the people that are there, meet the commander, and find out what they're all about.
Yeah.
And see how you can help as well, because when you help the VFW, you help the community and you help the veterans.
Right. You know, we also have our food bank, and our food bank, just in the month of October, we handed out 98 bags of food to our veterans, and that supported the veterans, plus another 202 family members. And then we receive donations from Albertsons on a weekly basis of fresh fruit and vegetables, and that we also hand that out every week. We also received gratuitous boxes of food from Calvary Chapel Church, and that had fresh fruit, fresh vegetables, potatoes, onions, fresh meat.
Oh, wow.
I mean, it was like $50 worth of food, and we gave away almost 100 boxes of food to our veterans in need as well, above and beyond everything else that we did. And I can't say it enough. I need to give a huge shout out to Albertsons for their generous donations on a weekly basis. They do so much for us, and just thank you, thank you, thank you. Our veterans in need utilize that food to help them offset their costs on a daily, weekly, and monthly basis. And you know, a lot of people think that, well, they're veterans. Some of them are getting pensions, some of them aren't. But we have a lot of older veterans that, you know, if they were receiving pensions, it's not enough to cover their costs, as the cost of living has increased over the course of the last 20 and 30 years. So all this stuff that we do for our veterans is set aside specifically to make sure that we're assisting them, and that food bank does a phenomenal job every single week by picking up the donations and then just sorting through the donations and then distributing them every single Wednesday between the hours of 10 a.m. and noon. Now, if you're interested in seeking assistance with regards to that, all we ask is that you show us your veterans card. We'll get you signed up, and we'll get you into our food bank processing every single week. You can come down and get a free bag of food. So
this is truly outstanding. And I'm sure there are a lot of people in our community that don't know about this. Now, the Pahrump community, and I say Pahrump community because that's largely where we are, but we extend all over Nye County. Mm-hmm. And Nye County, and also into Clark County. So we have veterans in all these areas, and we're here. We're here, and this is a veteran supportive community.
Yeah, very much so.
It's great, and we need your help always. We need you to be there to support what is being done for veterans in our community. Our commissioners go overboard as well to do so many things for our veterans. And I want to talk about the Veteran Banner Program too, mm-hmm. to make sure that everybody knows what's going on with the Banner Program. But I'm going to get back to the VFW, and let Marty give us some more information about what's happening with the VFW.
Well, we also on October 24th, between our last interview and this one, we did our Paint the Pumpkin Purple for epilepsy, and
Great.
we had a few people show up, not as many as we had anticipated, and you know it was a little disheartening to our auxiliary president because she really poured her heart out into that event. But the people that did show up, I do want to say thank you, and I hope you guys had a great time painting the pumpkins purple.
But I know Bonnie puts together a lot of programs to do anything to help in the community. She's fantastic. That's your auxiliary.
Yeah.
But the entire post is doing so much. The members, and again, the VFW wants your support as well.
Yeah. You know, real quick, I just want to touch on one more thing. I know we're running short on time, but the VFW has also started a VFW writers group at our post.
Hey, what?
And we're trying to be the first post in the state to have its own VFW writers group.
Okay.
And that is basically, if you like riding motorcycles and you're a veteran and you want to come to and join us on rides, come on down to the post. We'll sign you up. We'll get you into our writers group. We do meetings on the last Saturday of every month. And it's just about having fun and going out and riding motorcycles and having fun with each other. It has nothing to do with political, nothing to do with anything else other than just, if you want to ride, come on down. We're starting to get our calendar together so we can have rides posted twice a week. With the cooler weather coming in, it's just perfect. So if you're interested, come on down. We'd love to have you, and we'd love to see you support us and support the organization, but at the same time, go out and have fun riding.
You know, I want to put in a plug as we close this session to talk about one of your previous riders, a person that really loved motorcycles, and that was Bill Daly.
Yeah.
Bill Daly was our World War II veteran, served with General Patton, and he rode motorcycles in the Army. And he was part of the VFW writers group. Really loved it, talked about it all the time.
Yeah.
So come back and join us for our next session. And we have so much more to talk about for the VFW. Welcome back. We're glad to have you back with us. And for this session, we're still talking about the VFW, and we have the commander. Marty is with us. He's given us so much information, and I hope you're writing all this down. There's no way you're going to remember it all, especially when we talk about earning money for students just by writing an essay. And that's for next year already.
Yeah.
So we're giving you a lot of heads up on a lot of things that's going on. But there's so many other things that the VFW is doing and accomplishing in our community. So Marty, I'm going to turn it back to you and let you fill us in on some more information, the things that are going on at the VFW.
Okay. So for the rest of this month, we're pretty busy. We have Veterans Day that is going to be tomorrow. And that'll be at 11 a.m. at our VFW post, where we'll do a small ceremony. And then, obviously, it's about recognizing our veterans. Not quilts of valor, but...
Before you go on, and talking about Veterans Day,
yeah.
What time is that going to be?
That's going to be at 11 a.m. at the VFW in our front courtyard area.
And why 11 a.m.?
So 11 a.m. is the 11th month of the 11th hour of the 11th day was basically when the armistice was signed for World War I.
Yes.
And that's why we hold our Veterans Day Memorial on the 11th of November, on the 11th day at 11 a.m.
And so many people can remember that just by remembering 11, 11, 11.
Exactly.
And on that day and at that time, be at the VFW post.
Yeah, come on down. We'd love to have you.
You know, every veteran organization is going to be represented there.
Right.
And it's something that's done every year. It's something I definitely would not miss.
Right.
I'm there at 11 o'clock on the 11th day of the 11th month every year.
And you guys also, the DAV also has an event happening that day. That's going to be at Chief Tacoma, right?
At Chief Tacoma Cemetery, it will be at 3:30 in the afternoon, also on Veterans Day. and inviting everybody to come out for that as well.
Most definitely. We on our Shadow Mountain Quilters actually contacted me, and for the last 2 months I've been sending emails out to our veterans. They are going to be issuing out lap blankets or lap quilts to our veterans. No, you got to get your name on my list though, and we're almost out of time for that. But yeah, we are out of time because it's going to be tomorrow. But Shadow Mountain Quilters will be there, and I just want to give a shout out to them as well and saying thank you for your generous donation of quilts to our veterans.
They're fantastic.
Yeah, they are.
That's a great organization.
Yeah. A couple other things we got going on is 14th is our meeting day, and that'll be at noon. We also now have the Marine Corps League meeting at our post, and they have their meeting at 10:30, and then our meeting is at noon, and then our auxiliary meeting will be at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So it's a pretty busy day at the VFW.
So let me stop you there too, because you're using the post for VFW. All your meetings are there.
Correct.
You have the American Legion.
Correct.
Their meetings are there.
Correct.
And now you have the Marine Corps League.
The Marine Corps
Their
League,
meetings are there.
Their meetings are there. And BACA, which is Bikers Against Child Abuse, just contacted me 2 weeks ago, and they're interested in holding their meetings at our post as well. And
Tell me something else about BACA.
So, Bikers Against Child Abuse, this is a new chapter that they're starting up in Pahrump, and we got contacted and said, boy, we're just looking for a place that we can hold our meetings. And I was like, absolutely. You know, anything that we can do to help the kids in our community. And this is a wonderful organization. And I'm just like, yes, absolutely. No charge. Come on down, set up your meetings. They're going to be on Sundays, and that'll be right around noon. And I don't know the dates yet, but it's just a phenomenal thing that they do to assist the kids in the community that really need assistance. No one can speak for the kids except for an organization like this where kids are getting beaten, and these guys step in and they really go to town to assist those kids that are in abusive family relationships. So I'm very proud to support them, and we're happy to have them at our post. It's just going to be phenomenal.
You know, I need to add, because I know something about BACA, is the fact that also for kids that are being bullied in school, they'll go to the school with the kid just to show, give this kid some self-esteem, and let other kids know, hey, we've got that kid's back.
Yeah.
So BACA is a great organization. Glad to know that they're going to be part of the post as well.
Yeah, it's just going to be great. So our Marine Corps League Commandant will be taking over his new position on the 14th. I think it's going to be Frank Miller, but I'm not 100% positive because I'm not associated with the Marine Corps League other than allowing them to utilize our building. Let me see what else we got going on. On the 16th, our auxiliary is going to be doing an ornament painting party at the VFW right around 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It's just about getting prepped for Christmas and doing an organization painting event. If you're interested in that type of stuff, come on down. We've got on the 21st, we are going to be doing a motorcycle poker run. And I say a motorcycle poker run, but all vehicles are welcome. Every single vehicle. The cost is $20 for the primary entry, and then if you have a passenger, then it's $10. That provides you with a free lunch at the VFW, and the money will go to support the Marine Corps League's Toy for Tots, and that's what this ride is about. It's about Toys for Tots. If you haven't heard me speak about anything in the past, you need to know that I'm very passionate about our kids in Pahrump and Pahrump Valley. And we have a lot of students out there, and we have a lot of kids out there that are really, it's not their fault. And it is honestly not their fault that they're in the positions they're in. And all we want to do is support them. We have supported the Nye County School District Homeless Activity Fund, and we're going to continue to do that. But this one is just for Christmas, is around the corner. And we've got Toys for Tots that we've partnered with along with the Marine Corps League, and we're doing this poker run to support not only the VFW and the Marine Corps League and Toys for Tots, but also some of the local bars in town. They've agreed to partner with us, and we've got 4 or 5 stops set up. And it'll start at the post and it'll end at the post. Our registration will be at 10 a.m. till noon. There's my phone, sorry. It will be from 10 a.m. to noon. If you're registering on the day of the event, then it'll be $25 and $15 for the passengers. And we have all the pre-registration envelopes sitting at the VFW right now. If you're interested in joining this, please, please, please come down to the post and sign up early. It'll make the organization much more simpler on the day of the event. And it'll also give us a good count of how many New York roasts I will have to roast on the barbecue for the luncheon that we will be putting on. And that's pretty much most of the stuff that we have happening for the rest of this month.
Well, let's go back to Toys for Tots, because when you talk about Toys for Tots, this is something that, again, right away you recognize the Marine Corps, and the Marine Corps League is really doing this through the VFW. But when you look at all the benefits, by participating in this, you're helping all the kids that are in need.
Right.
It touches my heart when I see young kids receiving things when they didn't expect anything for Christmas.
Right. Yeah.
And just to see the smile on their face. When I think about all the things that Marty is doing, when I listen to him, his passion for helping kids, it doesn't matter what age group. We're talking from the cradle to, I'm going to say 18 or even older.
Right.
Marty is looking out for our young people. And for anything that you can do to help, I'm trying to encourage, take a part in it, be supportive, and do whatever you can to make this a success.
Yeah. And this is our first time doing it, so I mean, I'm sure we're going to have a little bit of hiccups with regards to stuff, but we're doing everything we can to try and support the kids in this community, because there's so many kids out there that need so much, and that's what this is really all about. It's about the kids. So help, come down, support, enjoy, have a good time with us, and remember that the money raised is not going to the VFW, but it's going to the community and to the kids. So that's the most important thing for me. Yeah.
Absolutely. When all the things that we've talked about for the VFW, the things that the VFW is overseeing to make life comfortable for our veterans, their families, and for our young people. So many things are going on. Get involved with the VFW. Come down and meet Marty. Marty, what's a good phone number if somebody wants to call the post just to find out what's going on?
Sure. So, gosh, we have so much, so many ways of putting information out. We have a Facebook page. And we have a web page, and the web page is vfwpost10054.com. All of our information is on the web page. Our calendar is there that shows all the events that we have going on. All you have to do is click on the calendar and it'll bring everything up. And then if you're really interested in a certain event, click on that event and it'll tell you the time for it starts and stops and everything that's going on with it. It's just a phenomenal website that our auxiliary president has put together, and she's the manager of it. Because I'm not that good at it. The other thing is the post phone number is area code 775-727-6072. If I'm not there, talk to one of the bartenders. They can tell you what exactly we've got going on for that day. Tomorrow, like I said, is Veterans Day at 11 o'clock. And, today was the Marine Corps' birthday. Happy birthday, Marines. I just got to put that plug out to them. And tonight is Taco Tuesday. So, we have a lot of stuff happening, and it's happening every single day. We always have stuff happening at the VFW. Come out and check us out, check out our website as well.
Every time I have Marty on, and like I said, he was on the last show, and we had so much information. There was no way we could provide all that information in just 2 sessions. So that's why he came back tonight to go ahead and give you all the information so you can come out and support the VFW. And we'll see you again for the next session. Thank you. Welcome back to the show. We're so glad to have you back. I'd like to introduce my new guest. I haven't been on my show since November 2018. So it's been a long time since I've had her on, and a lot of updated information that we're going to have. Her name is Shelley Perio, and she is the president of Living Free and Fitness. Oh, that's a mouthful. So let's find out what that's really all about. Shelley, welcome to the show.
Thanks a lot, Tom.
I should say welcome back to the show.
Thank you. And I'm happy to be back. It's a great opportunity, and I love meeting with you and talking with you. It's Living Free Health, or Living Free Health and Fitness is the long name, but
Yep.
kind of sounds a little bit like a gym. We have a lot of fitness orientation and healthy nutrition as part of our addiction recovery focus. Our mission statement is treating addiction with whole health solutions,
Okay.
so it makes sense. But there was some confusion, and it's just like you said, it's a mouthful to say. So we shortened that to Living Free Health. So yeah.
Okay, how long have you been in Pahrump?
Well, I personally lived in Pahrump since October of 2017, and relocated the company here at that time.
Okay.
So yeah, it's a little over 3 years, and it's been great.
Well, who do you serve when you look at your clientele, and you've got to also talk about what do you do for those people that you serve? Sure.
So Living Free Health is a 501c3 nonprofit public charity. That's how it's designated with the
Okay.
IRS. And our focus is on treating people with addiction. And initially, I had founded the company with the idea of helping people sort of post-treatment. So how do you get them from the 3-month milestone to the 12-month milestone, where at 12 months clean and sober, people have a 66% chance of staying clean and sober forever. So that's a big difference. It's a marked improvement. But treatment doesn't always last 12 months. And so I thought, well, there was a way maybe that Living Free would be able to bridge that gap. When I got to Pahrump, I realized that's the case. You still need to do that. But I felt that in starting transitional living or sober living houses and adding the actual treatment to that component, sort of the whole entire wraparound service model in that regard, in addition with helping people with co-occurring disorders. In other words, people may have an addiction problem, but they may have PTSD, or they may have depression, or all of the above. So in taking that approach, what we wanted to do is to help people with addiction, co-occurring disorders, get them healthy, get them the life skills that they need, get them the time. The biggest thing is time clean and sober. The longer you're clean and sober, that's the greatest indicator of course, future success.
Well, how do you find your clients, or how do your clients find you? And if they had requests for information, who do they call?
Well, they could call our office at 775-505-1625. Our website also has a lot of information, and that is livingfreehealth.org. So those are two easy ways to get a hold of us. We're at the corner of Mesquite and Highway 160, so we're just 2 miles north of the Home Depot. Most people know where the Home Depot is. So we're very easy to find. The clients that we get come from a number of different sources. Some are self-referrals. Some are family has found us on the internet or heard about us through, I don't know, shows like yours, Tom, or different things that we've done in the community, and refer their loved ones or friends. We get some people from drug court. We get some people from parole and probation, and DCFS, Child Protective Services, Justice Court. So they're kind of a whole gamut of different people that we get that we are able to help.
If a person is, say, referred by let's say the drug court, and is there a requirement that they complete a certain program with you?
Well, the drug court has its program, and they need to follow. There's certain milestones and behavioral components that they're required by the court, and oftentimes part of that, I think all the time, that is some level of treatment. But the court and parole and probation and other referral agencies like that with regard to perhaps criminal justice, the treatment is up to us. We assess the client and assess what their need is and place them in the level of care which is appropriate for their condition at that time.
Oh, this is fantastic. It sounds like you're there and you can really provide the aid that the individual needs.
I think we can, and we do, and I think we do really an excellent job of that. One of the things that even before we had the treatment, we opened a men's sober living house. That was in March of 2018. And then in April of 2018, we opened the women's house. So they've been around for a while. Previously, we had charged for those houses. And when COVID struck us here in March, I mean, we had people in the houses and they all lost their jobs. And one of the things that I get concerned about, and I think all of our clinical staff and other staff were concerned about, is, I mean, financial stressors are a huge potential for relapse. So I wanted to take that fear away from them. And we made the houses no charge whatsoever. And we're able to rely on donors in the community and outside of the community to provide us financial assistance in being able to pay the rent, being able to pay Valley Electric, those kinds of things, and that was very helpful at that time. Then in June we submitted for grants, so we were able to get a grant which just started October 1st. We have a grant that underwrites the transitional living for the existing men's house, the existing women's house, and then, which is an amazing thing, and the only one in the area that I know of, is a women and children's transitional living, so that women who have addiction problems or pregnant women, that's a house specifically for them that they can bring their children to. And now we have to limit that a little bit. So the children who are limited to age 10 and under, and each mother can only bring a maximum of 2 children. But having said that, we do have someone in the house at this time with a 10-month-old, and we're expecting more mothers with more children over the next couple of weeks. So it's been we've really grown a lot in the last 2 years. We've reached out to a lot of people, and we're continuing to grow. And I think the important thing is we're continuing to meet the needs of the community in ways that haven't been met before. And you know, your previous guest, Marty, had talked about BACA, the Bikers Against Child Abuse, and some of the other ways that they're very involved in helping children. And I think that this house is really a line in the sand as far as being able to take very significant steps toward breaking that cycle or the intergenerational dependence that we see on a regular basis. We see a lot of mothers who have addiction problems, and you know, the kids go to CPS, or they're taken away, or there are all kinds of problems, and it's a very difficult thing, because what happens in addiction is that the addiction really becomes it usurps control over the brain, and it becomes a top priority, even more so than your loved ones. It's a horrible thing, and so what we're trying to do is provide an environment where mothers can be back together with their children, that the children don't have to go through that sort of turmoil, and that they're in healthy, safe, structured, supervised environment from which they can be successful.
You know, I was going to ask, when you said there's no charge for the individuals, for the men's house or the women's house, I was going to ask how you're surviving, and even with contributions from the community.
Yeah.
And I assume the contributions still continue. Is that correct?
They do. When COVID hit, we got pretty well wiped out with almost everything.
I'm sure.
So that was very difficult. But we had been, you know, I feel like I'm a very wise steward of the money that we have, and so we were able to get through the roughest part. And when the market started to recover a little bit, a couple of months later into the COVID, we did start to get some donations back, not at the levels that they were before,
Yes.
but again, we are very focused. Our board of directors is amazing, our staff is amazing, and our decision making is really around how do we help the community. So I always want to be in a position where when bad things do happen in the economy, which they will, they always do at some point, that you're prepared for the downturns. And I think we were as prepared as one could be.
And when COVID hit, what exactly did you have to do differently than you did before?
Well, we implemented all of the social distancing measures. We amped up all of the. We always clean. I mean, the bottom line is that we deal with people who have addiction. A lot of them come off the street. They're in bad situations. They clearly haven't been taking good care of themselves. So there's always a risk for tuberculosis, for HIV, for bronchitis, for pneumonia, for all kinds of things, just on a normal basis, a non-COVID kind of basis. So we are always very careful about cleaning and distancing, those kinds of things, but we really took it up another level as far as what we had to do when faced with COVID.
Well, it sounds like you get things under control, and you've also got the grant. So the grant is covering a lot of your needs, but well, is it covering all of your needs?
It isn't actually covering all of our needs. I submitted for another grant, which I hope will, but we're filling up, and the grant will not cover our needs for, having all 3 houses full or even close to full. But it's certainly a huge help, and but I'm very adamant about the fact that you can't just throw people in a house. You do need to have staff, and so.
Yep.
I'm working on trying to get more funding for additional staff and for the kinds of additional things that the clients may need, especially in the early, first or second month.
As we talk about living free and fitness, since it all goes hand in hand, these are the things that you have brought to our community, and it's being very successful. Now, I know we're going to run out of time in this session, but in the next session, we want to talk about how long it takes to go into recovery, how long it takes to complete it, what the rate is of people not having a recurrence. And I know you're able to give me all of that. So as we look forward to our next session, we're going to ask our viewers, stand by and look at everything that we've got going for you. And come and join us. Welcome back. We're so glad to have you back with us. I have as my guest Shelley Pererio, and she is the president of Living Free and Fitness, and she's given us so much information about exactly what's going on. But I want to clarify some information because we've talked about the houses she has for her clients. And she mentioned the fact that she had 3 houses. So Shelley, tell us, you've got the 3 houses. What are the differences in the 3 houses?
Oh, sure. We have the men's house, which you mentioned, the women's house, and I don't think I was as clear as I could have been. The 3rd house, which was officially opened on October the 19th, is only for women and children. So it can be for pregnant women and women with children.
Okay.
So at this point, and that it's restricted to that. So single women or women not pregnant, no children, they would go to the other house.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're looking at that, and I do want to mention that just with all 3 houses, and in particular with this last one because it's most fresh in my mind, the donations that we get of people's goods. And especially their time. It's just amazing. There's always a lot of cleaning. And in this last house, this 3rd house, there was a lot of baby-proofing kind of stuff that needed to happen, bolting bookcases into walls and these kinds of things. And we had a number of people in the community come out and volunteer hours and hours of their time to make sure that it's a very welcoming, happy home for our mothers and our clients.
Oh, that's great. I was going to ask what role the community has played in your success. Is that part of it?
Oh, absolutely. We basically, I brought the company here, we had nothing. So we've literally built something from nothing in Pahrump. And we can go back to September of 2018, where we got our office space, and it were just basically 2 empty suites. And there was a lot of cleaning that needed to be done. Then there was a lot of build out that needed to be done. And we had a number of people who volunteered to help with building. We had trades that helped us out. Like Ken Murphy at Shadow Mountain Construction, Roy Savina at Avina Electric, P-Town Air. I don't want to forget anybody. We had so many people help us.
Great. Okay.
Yeah, on so many levels with putting the houses together, but also putting the offices together as well.
This is fantastic to know that you have the community support and everything is going that way. But I want to read this question because I like the way it's worded. What are some of the biggest challenges our community faces regarding addiction and recovery?
Okay.
I know that's a lot, but I know you can go ahead and give us all of that information.
Yeah. Well, I think that one of the biggest challenges, and I don't think this is news to probably anyone in your audience, Tom, is that drugs are prevalent. They are everywhere. And we're not just talking about the legal psychoactive substances like cannabis or alcohol, but methamphetamine is the scourge. And I would say that 99%, it might be a high number, but maybe 95% of the people that we see have methamphetamine as part of their story. Opioid abuse is also part of their story, and frequently we see people with methamphetamine and heroin addiction simultaneously, and IV drug use. So how do you get over that? Because those drugs are extraordinarily addictive. All psychoactive substances have an addiction potential, but some more so than others. So how do you deal with that challenge when it's prevalent? I think that you can't, we can force people into treatment, but and anybody who's dealt with an addict or an alcoholic knows, until that person at least has some desire, that has some initiative for or a desire for change, nothing's going to happen. It doesn't matter how hard you can lead a horse to water, right? But you can't make them drink.
Absolutely.
So when they're ready, we have to be ready. So when that person is ready, there needs to be the resource for them available. Is there treatment available? Can they get an assessment quickly? Can they get a bed in sober living or transitional living quickly? And I think that Living Free Health has done an extraordinary job and continues to do an extraordinary job of scheduling so that we can get the people the help they need as quickly as they need it.
Okay.
Another piece of this is, and this is what I think we addressed a huge problem in the community as far as a challenge was concerned. We used to get a lot of women who would come to us and say, I need help. I need to get into sober living. I have children. And we'd say, I'm sorry, we can't take the children. Yeah. Well, now we can take the children. And that is huge because there often is not a safe place for that mother, for the children to go. And the home environment is toxic. It can be toxic in ways of domestic violence, toxic in ways of ongoing substance use in the house. And so to be able to pick up a mother and children out of that and put them in a safe environment where they can focus on family and health and getting better and the life skills needed to support that over the long run, that's what we aim to do.
Now, you did say you had a limit on the number of children.
Yeah, well, so it's a new house and a new program. And so what I've learned through my long history in business is that you might have a lot of plans for how things are going to work, but there are also a lot of unknowns. Yes. So what we're focused on now as kind of a ballpark is to have a maximum of 6 adult women in the house. And we estimate that maybe between 6 and 8 children, but it will really be dependent upon their needs, the needs of the children, and the needs of the mothers. Yeah.
Oh, that sounds good. We talked about addiction and recovery. In the recovery, how long do you expect them to be in the house?
We generally look at assessing people and recommending between 6 and 12 months in the house. Whether they do that or not, or whether that ends up being appropriate for them, it's generally not longer than a year. Sometimes it's less than 6 months. I think that when you mentioned that too about recovery, so there's the treatment aspect of it, right? But then what are we doing also? What is Living Free Health doing for long-term recovery?
Yeah.
And we are hosting 12-step meetings in our office. We have the support of Las Vegas's Foundation for Recovery. They send a person out under their grant because they're a nonprofit as well. And he supports us every other Tuesday in just another avenue toward long-term sobriety. Sober social support, activities that people can do, people that they can associate with who are healthy, who are not using, who are, for all intents and purposes, say doing the right things. That's what we want people to, it's a new way of living, right? It's a new way of life.
Sure. Mm-hmm. Now, you've been in the area for a while now, and when you look at your goals, your long-term goals, say we always talk about 5-year goals. Mm-hmm. What do you plan for the agency?
What I'd like to do I would say probably another 2 years. Within 2 years, I'm hoping that we can get grants. I want to do this transitional living part correctly and well to begin with, and make sure that that is smooth. But there is a huge need for an inpatient treatment here. Anytime anyone needs inpatient treatment or detox, they need to go to Las Vegas, and that is it's difficult. I mean, if people oftentimes won't do it, right, because they have to make a plan to get a ride to Vegas. So if we had that resource right here, people would feel, I think, it would be more welcoming. They would be closer to their families and to the people who are healthy in their lives to get that support. So a 5-year goal, which would actually be 2 years from now, so that would be 5 years that we've been here in Pahrump, would also be to have an inpatient treatment for people so that we could treat them inpatient and then lower their level of care by going to outpatient and maybe transitional living or just back to home.
Shelley, what would it take to get that here in Pahrump?
One of the difficulties that here, I mean, I feel like we could probably find a way to get the money. I'm always pretty good at making ends meet, to that degree. But one of the most difficult things I think is getting staff, is getting the clinicians, the professionals, because a lot of times we get people out of Vegas, they get tired of the drive after 6 or 8 months, and they leave. So toward that end, and I'm really glad you asked that because I didn't think about sharing this before, was that we are a practicum site for UNLV. So, and we're looking to be a practicum site also for Capella University. And what that would allow us to do is to have people who are working on getting their master's in social work or to be a licensed clinical counselor, those kinds of things, that they could do their practicums with us so that they would be able to develop their career here in town, and then hopefully we would have first dibs on a very high quality established clinician once they complete their program. So I think it helps people here in town with their career goals, and it would help us and the other agencies in town for that matter with having more qualified staff available in our hometown.
Now that's great. I heard you say UNLV. Now what about Great Basin College?
Oh, I'm sorry, I misspoke. University of Nevada, Reno, UNR.
UNR.
Yeah.
Okay. UNR.
But hopefully UNLV next. So
how about Great Basin College, since they have a group here?
Well, we would be very happy to work with them. What I was kind of referencing was these are master's level practicums.
Okay.
So it's a little bit different. But I do know we did have an intern from UNLV, from Great Basin, not too long, about a year ago.
Okay.
So, yeah.
No, this sounds like you've got a great program, and I know the viewing audience is very interested in what you're doing. So you've given your phone number, you've given your website, but why not do that again?
Okay.
Just for those people that are writing this down saying, I need to contact Shelley.
Sure. And please do. We have a great staff. You can call our office at 775 505-1625. I might add, we're open Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. We're usually there a little earlier, but 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. and Saturdays 9 to 2. So you can pop in if you want. livingfreehealth.org.
Okay. This has been a fantastic show.
Thank you.
And it's, again, I want to thank Shelley for being here because she has brought so much information. When you talk about exactly what she does as far as living free of drugs, living free of addiction, and then the fitness that goes with that. But we're going to have another show for you next month, so come back and join us next month.